What's going on, sports fans? A2D Radio is live exclusively on A2DRadio.com. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby, keeping the train on the tracks, producing the show per usual. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We have Eagles disaster. We have Monday Night Football live reactions. Underrated sports night of the year. Most underrated sports night of the year is tonight, Brad. I'm a huge fan of the Monday night doubleheader. I wish they would do it every week and get rid of that stupid Thursday game unless it's a special occasion like Thanksgiving.
Right.
Winners and losers of week one. We neglected baseball last week. Phillies and Yankees continue their push to the playoffs. And we got a game 7 in the NBA tomorrow night, Tuesday. Nuggets, Clippers. I don't know what the Clippers are doing, but
they better start doing the right thing, or they're going to be.
I feel like the Nuggets are playing with house money, Brad, and that's
dangerous.
So we got that. We got the Stanley Cup Finals just about set. Dallas and Tampa Bay seem to be in control. But first and foremost, let's take care of some business. A2D Radio, the Sports Hounds. Dr. Paul Vidal, he's our doc. Make him yours too. Physical Therapy LLC, 3 convenient locations, Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. Like I said, he's our doc. Make him yours too. Also, check out our gutter guys at Ambuck Services. They are the gutter and deck experts of South Jersey. Give them a call, 856-879-5530. That's 856-879-5530. Tell them the Sports Sound sent you. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. We're the fastest growing sports media company in the country. 214,000 views last night for Tommy Arnone, Uncle Sweeps, Wilson, and Greg Milakovic last night on Eagles post-game show. Like, follow, subscribe. We're live right now. Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You miss anything, download, stream us in podcast form. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio. It's takeover talk, baby. Get on board. Let's get to our poll. Our poll is brought to you by Philly Drinkers, LLC. Get your A2D merchandise, phillydrinkers.com. Click on the A2D Radio collection. It's affordable. It's comfortable. It's fashionable. We got a whole new fall collection out. We got your hoodies. We got your blankets. We got winter hats. We got your golf shirts. We got your pullovers. We got your crew neck sweatshirts. Anything you could want, anything that fits your style. We need you. Human billboards. We can't have takeover talk without you, fam. Support us, phillydrinkers.com. They do a great job. Not only A2D stuff, they have all kinds of cool stuff. So, Brad, our poll question, live reaction, starting in New York tonight. We'll get to the Eagles, but I'm going to kick it to you on the poll. The New York Giants will upset the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight on Monday Night Football, the first of 2 football games tonight. Giants are up 3-0. Brad, how do you see this playing out?
No.
So you disagree?
No, the Giants are going to lose. They had a chance to score a touchdown on the first series. They got a huge break on a punt that was fumbled by Pittsburgh on the 2-yard line. The Giants recover 1st and goal, and they settle for 3. Now, this is Giant football, folks. This is something that hasn't changed. And it's a different coach, but the same stupid play calling. You have Saquon Barkley, arguably one of the best backs in the NFL, and he runs one play, gets to the 1, and then 2 passing plays in a row, and they're kicking a field goal. I don't get it. As much as the Giants are supposed to be improved defensively, this Pittsburgh defense looks like monsters tonight. I just don't see how the Giants are gonna put points on the board. If the Steelers get the ball to the 2-yard line of the Giants, they're going to get a touchdown.
I mean, I can't disagree with you. I'm going to ultimately disagree with the poll. The Giants probably aren't going to win this game.
No, I think they're going to get smacked.
They're just at different stages of development. The Steelers
are real good. The Steelers are really good, and the Giants still stink. So I mean, as much as I'm a Giant fan, and I would like to praise their praise them. They just, to me, right now, don't look like a very good football team. They look completely disorganized. Although they're playing well defensively right now, I will give them that. But
I think you're being hard on your boys here, Brad, a little bit. They're swarming on defense. Yeah, that sucks that it's only 3-0 and not 7-0.
Well, you know what though? It's only a matter of time, because if their offense is getting dominated already, their defense cannot be on the field the whole game. And I just don't see it. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but just seeing how when they get the ball right now, they're getting overwhelmed. I mean, they're going backwards I mean, it's crazy bad right now. We'll see. Hopefully they'll do what the Redskins did and wake up and get a little bit more cohesive as the game goes on.
Well, I mean, we're also 10 minutes into week 1 of a very long football season.
Yeah, and they haven't played anybody yet, so you don't really know how good any of these teams are. So, I mean, we'll see.
Not for nothing, Brad, but this is a little bit of a golden opportunity for the Giants. The Eagles squander a 17-point lead yesterday in Washington, and we're going to get to that. I know that's our base here in the Philadelphia area, but we're going with live action here on Monday Night Football to lead the show. And also Dallas, they spit the bit last night on Sunday Night Football. They lose to the Rams, which, by the way, the Rams looked really good, especially defensively. So
yes, they did.
0-1, Eagles 0-1, Redskins and Giants, they could be 1-0. This is an opportunity for the Giants.
Did he get that foot down? Yeah.
Well, that's a tremendous catch by
did he get that second foot down?
Deontay Johnson.
Did he get that foot down? I guess he did.
That looked like a catch to me. But
yeah, it was. It was because they got a first down.
Brad, you have to be encouraged.
The Steelers are not running the ball. The Steelers are not running the ball at all against the Giants right now. But we'll see. That last year the Giants were one of the worst teams in the NFL against the run. So that's encouraging.
I mean, you had to be encouraged by this defense, at least so far through the first quarter, Brad.
Well, we'll see about the defense, Rob. The defense last year was the worst in the NFL, probably. So you're not willing to get excited at all about this football team right now. No, not when I see how good the Redskins looked yesterday, and I thought that we would come in third. I'm pretty much expecting to come in last place this year. I mean, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I mean, I don't see how this team is going to be better than Philadelphia, Washington, or Dallas. I just don't. I mean, rookie head coach. That drive at the 2-yard line was as dumb a drop. Was some of the dumbest calls I've ever seen. And if this is an example of what we're going to see this year, I'm just shuddering at what I'm going to see this year.
Is Jason Garrett calling plays?
Yes, I believe, but still, it's the head coach that's responsible for these calls. So I just don't get why. I don't get why you have Saquon Barkley, okay, and you have first and goal on the 2 while you're throwing 2 passes. Somebody has to explain that to me, because I'm not understanding it at all.
I can't help you with that one, but what do you think of Joe Judge so far? I mean, going into this game,
it's too early to make a serious a serious statement about this with Joe Judge yet. I mean, you're talking about the first quarter. There's 2 minutes left of the first quarter. The Giants are clinging to a 3-0 lead. It's probably going to be tied up after this drive, at least minimum. They might be trailing after this drive. We'll see. If the Giants keep it close and they give the Steelers all they can handle, that would be impressive, because the Steelers are a better team than the Giants. I mean, their roster is clearly better. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe some of these guys that they drafted are going to play well, but right now, the Giants offense just looks really not very good. And now they throw a screen pass, and they just did a great job there running that screen down. But
yeah, new middle linebacker Blake Martinez really.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Martinez, because the Giants had a blitz, and Roethlisberger called the screen, and they still weren't able to take advantage of it. So that's pretty important.
And my question to about Joe Judge, what do you think about, running laps, shutting down practice, restarting practice, kind of that high school, college mentality? Are the Giants into this, or do you think that this is good?
I like it because you know what? They're a young team. A lot of these guys are very young players, especially the defense. And I like it because that's kind of what they were dealing with in college. And, a lot of these guys are not too far removed from college. So good. I think it's good for them. And the Giants make the stop defensively and are going to force the Steelers to go for 3. So that's encouraging to see that they're able to not let him get in the end zone. And we'll see what happens.
Who calls the defense, Brad, for the Giants?
I forgot the guy's name. It's the guy from Miami. Miami's head coach.
Oh, you're right.
I just can't remember his name right now. But he's the defensive coordinator, and I think he's pretty good, actually. I think he's not a bad coach.
He seems extremely intent letting Big Ben check down the entire game and not letting Deontay Johnson, James Washington, or Juju Smith-Schuster beat them deep. And they've done a very good job letting their linebackers track. They've gotten a good pass rush so far.
So far, the defense has looked good. I mean, we can't complain about the defense. We'll see what happens. But I got to tell you, Rob, after watching the Eagle game yesterday and the Cowboy game yesterday, I know they both lost, but I think right now they're clearly better than the Giants.
I don't understand how you can watch. Let's get into the Eagles because everyone's itching. We're going to keep you updated on these games. We're going to talk about the Titans-Denver Broncos game, the nightcap tonight. We got former Eagles receiver Freddie Solomon joining us at 8 o'clock.
By the way, 2 significant injuries for the Eagles. Vinny Curry and Craig James may be done for the season.
Well, that's no surprise because everyone and their mother got hurt yesterday.
I mean, Vinny Curry, that looked bad yesterday with Vinny Curry. I mean,
I'm interested to see because, Brad, you actually watched an entire Eagles game yesterday.
Yes, I did. Now, I admit, I taped it. I went out
That's all right.
with my wife. We I did the wife dating thing. And, came home about 5 o'clock. And I had taped the Eagle game. I put it on, watched from start to finish, because I want to be. If I'm going to comment on a game, okay, I want to watch the game and be able to be sharp about it and not read about it in the newspaper or on the internet. So I know what happened. I saw the whole damn game, and I got to tell you something. I think Carson is getting a very bad beating. It was not all his fault, Rob. The interception in the first half, towards the end of the first half, that got Washington on the scoreboard, I would blame him for that. But in the second half, the offensive line was just horrendous. He was getting killed. I mean, basically, what I thought I was watching was Eli Manning and the Giants out there for the last couple of seasons, because he had no time to throw, and when he did have time, his receivers were dropping the ball. I mean, Zach Ertz with 4 minutes to go on fourth down, drops a pass that's right in his hands. I mean, and he's usually very reliable. But I mean, what I understand about what the Eagles did yesterday is, here's a team, they go up 17-0. They're throwing the ball to their tight ends. They're mauling Washington with their tight ends. And then all of a sudden, Doug decides he wants to start throwing long passes and showing off the speed. You don't do that. You don't. If it's not broke, you don't fix it. If you're moving the ball down the field, you make them stop you before you start changing your game plan. I mean, I just don't understand that. I fully admit I was rooting for the Redskins, okay, but I have to look at it through your eyes, and I'm saying to myself, why on earth do they all of a sudden have gone from the 3-step drop and hitting the tight ends and marching the ball down the field, and and Washington's defense was lost. They were jumping offside. They had no control of the Eagles' offense whatsoever. And then all of a sudden, they stop. They decide they're going to start throwing long passes, and then they wonder why they can't block. Well, of course they're not going to block. And Andy, yes, I am incredibly comfy right now, but I have to keep my computer charged. Thank you.
Look, there's plenty of blame to go around for the disaster that was the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. The offensive line was injured. The offensive line was bad. Carson was bad. Doug, play calling, could have been way better. They didn't run the ball at all. They had no interest. I understand Miles Sanders is inactive, but you got to at least,
Well, part of the problem with
kind of like a rock and a hard place with the run game, but what are you going to do? Run it right up the middle for 6 inches each carry because you have no line?
Well, that was the main problem. I'll tell you what, and you got to give Kerrigan and Young credit because you know what, these guys, I don't know how they knew it, but they seem to sniff out those every time the Eagles decided they wanted to throw a screen pass. Okay, they seem to know. I mean, it's unbelievable how they were sniffing that out. You know, and I mean, Boston Scott is a really good player to use for screen passes because he's so quick. But it seems like either the scouting was really good or just Rivera is just an unbelievably good coach and they figured it out because every time he wanted to throw a screen pass, they were showing how all of a sudden the Redskins linemen were starting to run in and all of a sudden they started dropping back because they knew the screen was coming. How the hell do they know that?
I mean, it's not like it's not like Doug was, had the best game plan in the world going into yesterday. I mean, they either threw a screen pass or they
couldn't throw screen passes. Rob,
ball down the ball all the way down the.
Every time they tried to if they wanted to throw one, they were the Redskins, Kerrigan and Young were backing up. I mean, I'll tell you what, they're whoever their defensive coordinator is or their middle linebacker that calls the signals, they just know the Eagles' formations and what they do because they must have been very predictable because it seemed like they knew when those screen passes were coming. I mean, it was amazing how they were able to do that. And to be honest with you, Rob, in the first half, had the Redskins not kept committing stupid penalties, the Eagles, I don't even know if they would have had those drives because it seemed like the Redskins were helping them out an awful lot in the first quarter and a half. I mean, they lost an interception on an offside. If you recall.
Yes, they did.
Carson threw a pick, and it was and the Redskins were offside.
Mm-hmm. So, that was the one that went way up and got tipped and went way up in the air.
Right. I mean, again, I'm blaming him for the first interception. That was his fault. He got
that was the one to number 20 where he just did a 3-step drop, stared down Hightower, and it's just
and the guy jumped the route. I mean that I blame him. There wasn't a big pass rush. He should have saw that. That was a very poor decision.
Now,
but the rest of the time, he was under assault.
I understand that. Now, remind me again how the second interception happened.
Okay, the second let me think. The second interception was in the second half.
Right.
It was towards the end of the third quarter. He was under the gun, and he literally threw it off his back foot, and it was a bad pass.
That's right.
And he really probably should have just taken the sack, but I mean, he's trying to make a play, and I get that. And it was an unfortunate turnover. My biggest complaint is 4th down and 3 with 4 minutes to go in the game, and he throws a perfect pass to Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz drops the ball.
That was brutal. You know what I'm doing if I'm Howie Roseman, who I hate? And this team struggles started at pick 53 on draft night by taking a quarterback in the second round. That, by the way, was a healthy scratch yesterday, Brad. I
didn't know that. I didn't because
Jalen Hurts.
Game you kind of miss all that stuff. I didn't know that. I was wondering why he didn't come in for a couple of plays. Why would you use him as a second round pick and then not even play him?
I don't know. I'm speechless. I'm still speechless on the pick.
Was he unfit like the NHL players are sometimes?
It's a stupid, lazy, try and prove you got the biggest dick in the room type of pick by Howie Roseman.
That was ridiculous. I mean,
It's an maniac type pick. I can take a quarterback in this second round because all my other draft picks are so good that I can take a chance and take a toy in the second round.
yeah, no,
That's number one.
You take
Public enemy number one.
You take a toy in the fourth round, not the second round, because Hurts would have been there in the fourth round too.
Public enemy number one person to blame for yesterday's loss is Howie Roseman.
I agree with you.
This team's struggles started on draft night in the second round. And by the way, third round pick, which I see them step in all the time and contribute right away as well, Davion Taylor, I didn't hear his name once. And Rager did okay. He's got the shoulder thing. He suited up. He toughed it out. He caught a big ball.
He caught that one big pass for 55 yards. I mean, he was returning punts, although he kind of dropped the first one, but that's okay. I mean, he didn't lose it, and then he was okay after that. I mean, I think
public enemy number one to me, Brad, is Howie Roseman. And Howie Roseman, and there's a touchdown for your boy. Beautiful pass by Daniel Jones.
That was pretty. Wow, how do you like that? They marched right down the field. That was impressive. Good.
That's Darius Slayton.
Darius Slayton. I believe that was Slayton. I mean, wow, what a pass. I mean, 42 yards. Well, I'll tell you what, that's the only way the Giants are going to score touchdowns tonight, because obviously they're not going to be able to run the ball, and that's a tremendous pass by Daniel Jones.
Well, Brad, I'll tell you that. It's tremendous quarterback play by Daniel Jones right there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what.
He made any throws like that yesterday, I'll tell you that. Looks off the safety.
Those two Steeler safeties, I don't know what the heck they were doing. It's almost like you take them, no, I'll take them, no, you take them. Meanwhile, he was all alone, and Jones got the ball out and plenty of time for him to run that ball down. I mean, I like Jones. I think if you give Jones a chance, he's going to be okay. And especially with no fans in the building, I don't think that's a bad thing for Jones, because our fans are a little unreasonable sometimes. With the quarterbacks, if God forbid they throw one ball over somebody's head, we start booing. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I know you guys are like that too, but I think it might be good for Jones that he doesn't have to deal with that. There'll be no fans in the building, so when he screws up a play, he's not going to get booed, and he can just go back to the huddle and go to the next play. But Howie should have drafted an offensive lineman in the second round.
He's picked 3 players in 5 years.
I'm reading something here from Andy Ritter. And Andy, you're talking about how do you blame Howie? I'm going to tell you something, okay? And this isn't giant hatred, okay? This is just fact. Your entire 2017 draft class is now out of the NFL. Just to let you know, picks 1 through 7 are gone. They're not on the Eagles, and they're not on any other team. So be careful. Howie the guy calling the plays? Well, that's
Doug is not a coach GM. Doug has very little to do with personnel decisions. Doug has very little to do with the draft process. I'm sure Howie, well, maybe he doesn't, because Howie Roseman's a moron, and he might not ask his head coach's opinion. That would be poetic justice. But, I mean, like, you just hit the nail right on the head. 2017 draft. What's that, 2 drafts ago? 3 drafts ago? Not one.
Yeah, all these guys in your third year are the ones that are supposed to step up and be key members of your team, and they're all gone. You know what what happens there when all your draft players when all your draft picks are off the team? Okay, either you're going to be too young or you're going to be too old. You're not going to have enough guys in their prime, and that's a problem. And I do think that there's too many Eagles that are right now starting to look their age, and a lot of guys who are maybe a little too young to be great right now, and they've got a lot of injuries. And, injuries are bad luck, and I get that. You can't blame anybody for injuries, but every team gets injuries, guys. The Eagles aren't the only team in the league that has some injuries.
Yeah, and Derek Barnett, to be fair, he's still on the team, but I mean, he's not playing up to the potential of a first-round pick entering his 5th season, and he was also inactive yesterday due to an injury.
Okay, Matthew, if I'm wrong about Nate Jerry still being on the team, then I'm sorry, but I never see him. I never see him doing anything, so I forgot about him. But I believe all the other guys are gone, and that's not good.
Well, he's a typical Howie Roseman linebacker pick. I mean, you need a NASA caliber telescope to see him on the field because he's so undersized. I don't know who he thinks he is putting that visor on his face. Only good players should be able to put visors on their face. He does absolutely nothing out there on the field. He can't cover anybody because he's not athletic enough, and he can't stop the run because he's so undersized. Cool. I think he went to Nebraska. He was a safety at Nebraska. You turn him into a linebacker in the NFL.
A safety into a linebacker. Usually safeties can get turned into cornerbacks. That usually works, but safeties into linebackers usually don't work.
He's undersized. He's ineffective, and it's an unacceptable draft pick. I don't care if he's a 6th, 5th round pick, whatever the hell he was. It's unacceptable. So this team started at pick 53 in the 2nd round last night. In terms of people who actually laced up cleats and made the game plan, I got to give the lion's share of the blame to Carson Wentz, Brad. I'm going to have to butt heads with you on this one. Look, who's the leader of this football team, Brad?
It should be your quarterback.
Okay, who makes hundreds of $1 millions to adapt, overcome, and win football games?
Carson Wentz.
Okay. I understand there's injuries, but we just went over that. Everybody gets injured. At what point is the excuse talk for this guy gonna stop? And he's a great player, and I'm very pro Carson, even though he frustrated me greatly yesterday. I'm glad he's our quarterback. I think he's the 6th or 7th best quarterback in the league, even despite yesterday. But every time something goes wrong, it's always everybody else's fault.
I got to tell you, last night. I mean, I'm sorry. I say last night. Excuse me, I'm just moving the computer over. Last night, I don't think Carson was the problem. I thought last night the Eagles' offensive line was the problem, and I'm going to insist that was more of a problem than anything else. They couldn't protect him. I mean, I don't know how you expect Carson Wentz is not Aaron. What the guy in Green Bay,
Rodgers.
He's not Aaron Rodgers, guys. He's not. Okay, he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Russell Wilson. He's not going to run away and take over a game with his legs. He's a drop back passer. He's got a little bit of mobility. He doesn't have as much as he did in 2017 because he's been banged up. You got to protect him a little bit. But you know what? If you're under siege the way he was especially in the second half, how do you expect the guy to do anything? He's taking 3-step drops, and the guys are already back there. I mean, it was like a race to the.
Maybe it's unfair of me to criticize Carson for yesterday, but he played bad, and he's not above criticism. He's not that.
He listen. Did he handle the situation well? No, he did not. But I don't think he's used to getting a completely awful effort from his offensive line. I mean, I
understand that. It's been years. It's been absolutely years since the Eagles got bullied in the trenches like they did yesterday. But at what point is it reasonable for me to expect my franchise quarterback to adapt and overcome? It's not all peaches and cream all the time in the NFL.
What about the play calling?
The play calling wasn't great. I'm gonna get to him. But at what point can I expect my quarterback, my franchise quarterback, who's supposed to be this big, great MVP candidate, to overcome adversity? How much adversity is too much? Because last year the receivers weren't too good. And I can see it now. You can't judge Carson on this year because his line wasn't good. Well, guess what? Aaron Rodgers, the Packers have never taken a receiver for him in the first round. He threw for 500 yards, 5 touchdowns yesterday. Packers roll up the Vikings on the road, mind you, and get a big division win.
That was a huge win. That was impressive. But the Packers do have a pretty good offensive line. And listen, Aaron Rodgers can move around in the pocket. He's he still has good legs on him. That's the thing. And Carson doesn't have the legs to do what Aaron Rodgers does. Okay, I mean he's more of a drop back passer now, and again, it's more because of how much he got beat up over the over the years. Let me just see something since I heard something here.
But I mean that's fine. And then you look at the play calls. I mean you have Carson started the game 14 out of 17 for 100-some yards and 2 touchdowns. Then you just totally abandon the game plan. And we're criticizing Doug right now because he didn't do good yesterday either. He abandons the run. He abandons what worked for him in the first half just to throw Hail Marys like he's playing Xbox on Madden to show off his speed, to show off his toys, who, I got news for you, aren't that great. He's load managing Miles Sanders. He's load managing Deshaun Jackson in week 1. I thought I was done with the Sixers bullshit in basketball season and load management and Joe not being able to ready to play and Diva Ben and his nonsense. But I guess we're load managing with the Philadelphia Eagles in football. The Eagles aren't good enough to be load managing Miles Sanders. The Eagles aren't good enough to be load managing Deshaun Jackson. They took the Washington Redskins lightly yesterday.
Were they
really?
I think you're right about that. I do think they took the foot off the accelerator when they got ahead 17-0
before the game even started. Saturday afternoon, they deemed Miles Sanders inactive. And Doug Peterson said today in his press conference that he's trying to manage his load. You can't do that in the NFL.
So he wasn't hurt?
He's nicked. He's nicked up.
Yeah, but everybody's nicked up in football.
Soft tissue. He was inactive due to a soft tissue injury, and they didn't want to risk him getting hurt further. But you're not good enough to play games like that. I said it since all through the preseason. I see the Eagles as winning the division at 9 or 10 wins, and I don't see them as Super Bowl contenders. Nothing that happened yesterday changes my mind. But I mean, Doug,
if they continue to play like that, they're not going to win a Super Bowl.
No, the Eagles' ceiling is the playoffs. If they make the playoffs and win, if they win a playoff game, that's an extremely successful season. If the Eagles have a game in January this year, and this is what I've been saying, not backpedaling because of a loss yesterday, I'll be ecstatic. If they have a game in January, that's a successful season. And I've been saying that forever. I just don't see it. I don't see it at all with this team from a talent standpoint.
How badly injured is Lane Johnson right now? I know he was inactive, right?
He was. He had ankle surgery a couple weeks before the season. We do have Freddie Solomon ready to join us. We'll see what he thinks about the game. Freddie, are you with us? Nah, we're having.
There he is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Hey, Freddie, how you doing?
Hey.
There you go. All right, Freddie. It was a rough day for the Eagles fan base yesterday. It was a rough day. What did you see?
Uh-oh. Did he freeze up?
We're having problems with Freddie, but Lane Johnson, he had ankle surgery a couple weeks before the season, and he yesterday.
Okay, there he is. He's back.
We're back.
Freddie, you with us? All right, Freddie, first off, thanks for joining us. Obviously, it's been a tough Monday for us Eagles fans. Obviously, we have Brad's Giants here on Monday Night Football, but getting to the Eagles, I mean, what did you see yesterday? What happened yesterday? Obviously, they start the game hot. They're up 17-0, and then all of a sudden you're down 27-17 and the game's over.
To be honest with you, man, I didn't get a chance to see the game. I seen some highlights, and just by the highlights, man, it just looked like the guys up front was just better than we were. You know what I mean? They weren't giving Carson Wentz any time to run the offense at all.
How frustrating? I mean, you're a former receiver. You've played at the highest level. How frustrating is that when you can't accomplish what you want to as an offense because the offensive line is not doing their job and the quarterback is getting no time?
I mean, yeah, as an offense as a whole, man, it's frustrating. I mean, especially as a receiver. I mean, it's hard to display what your God given talents you can do. You know what I mean? And you're having trouble at certain positions. So it's just a tough day for him, man. I'm hoping to improve for them for Carson's sake because we need everybody healthy, man, and that's the main key to winning anyway. We need everybody healthy and on the field.
Freddie, how does one play change a game the way it changed yesterday? Because Carson threw an interception just before halftime, and it just seemed like it was 17-0. He made a bad decision. He made a bad pass. The Redskins pick it off, and then they score a touchdown. How did the Eagles just go from Cy Young to sayonara on one play? Because it just seems like right after that play, they switched uniforms. How does that happen? I mean, you're a professional football player. How does it happen to that extreme?
Man, momentum. I mean, this game is played with a lot of emotions, man, and just from hearing a lot of things from the Redskins, they're going through a lot with the coach as far as him going battling cancer and like I say, just momentum and the guys playing off the emotion that right before half they got a little something going for themselves and after that, man, like you say, this game is emotions, man. They played the second half like you say, like the Eagles wasn't even on the field, man. It was just different for me to not understand going 17-0 and then losing the game, man. That was just unbelievable for me to hear.
I mean, they were outscored 27-0. I mean, it's unbelievable that would happen.
Exactly.
And their defense didn't. And the Eagles' defense, really, in my opinion, wasn't that bad. The offense was just going 3 and out, and they were on the field the whole second half.
Right. So I don't know, man. It was just crazy, man. I did get it.
But 8 sacks. I don't care who you are. You can't win like that, man. It just I can't get over him being sacked that many times and just the performance on the second half. I don't know if Washington had more emotions. Philly just gave up, man. I just didn't get it. I mean, they just outplayed us the second half.
Freddie, what do you think of our franchise quarterback, Carson Wentz? He's a very polarizing figure here in Philadelphia. It seems like half the fan base is really behind him and thinks he's great, and the other half of the fan base wants to run him out of town. Where do you stand on Carson Wentz?
You know what? Just like can be that he can, but that they're gonna be able to do that. They got a good quarterback behind him, a young buck, Jalen Hurts. So we're gonna see how long that the Carson show will go.
Freddie, is it fair to criticize Carson off of the game yesterday when he got sacked 8 times and had guys in his face the entire second half? I mean, are we being unfair to criticize him, or do we have to sort of share the blame?
Come again? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
When
you say unfair to Carson,
are the fans being fair with Carson when he gets sacked 8 times that he had a bad game? I mean, is that fair to really blame him when the offensive line is that bad?
Not fair to him, man. It's game 1. First game out of the year, man. Come to think about it, no preseason games, no nothing, just fresh out the gate. So I don't think it's fair to him. You got to give him at least a couple games up under his belt before you.
Okay.
Freddie, how important is balance in the NFL? I look at the final box score. The Eagles only ran 17 times yesterday after being up 17-0. I look at the Redskins. They fell behind 17-0. They still were able to run the ball for 36 rushing attempts. They didn't give up on the run. They didn't do damage in the run game, but they had balance. The Eagles had no balance yesterday. How important is having balance as an NFL offense?
I mean, like, balance sets up everything. I mean, you got to keep the defense guessing. I mean, if they just sit there and key on what you're doing all game, I mean, that's at a disadvantage. Like you said, we're all professionals. You can't just let the defense sit back and kind of dictate what you're doing, man. They can just key off on you all day.
It certainly seems like they did that in the second half. Between Kerrigan and Young, those two guys were animals out there, and Sweat. I mean, it seemed like those guys were involved on every play.
What'd you think? Dwayne Haskins.
Come again?
Do we still have you? Dwayne Haskins. It seemed like. What did you think of Doug Peterson's game plan yesterday? Because it seemed like the Washington football team, had a much better game plan, put lesser caliber talent in much more of a position to succeed.
Not sure. Like I was saying, I really get a chance to watch the game. I just watch highlights, man, and just from the highlights, it just looked like they just outplayed it the second half. I really can't explain it. Don't understand how. Maybe, like I said, maybe the emotions. Washington played off a lot of emotions, man, the second half. I don't know. It's just hard to explain.
Where does this team go from here? Obviously, they have another big game. They're going to have their home open next week against the Los Angeles Rams, a team that beat the Dallas Cowboys. That's the only saving grace of yesterday's game, is that the Cowboys did lose. But, where does this team go from here?
Exactly.
Obviously, they're really injured. They're banged up front. Their quarterback didn't play well. They didn't run the ball. Nothing really went right. So where does this team go from here?
They just got to keep pounding, man. First, this is only one game. Gotta learn from our mistakes from the game and keep going.
Oh, we're still having technical.
See, like yeah.
All right, Freddie, we're having technical difficulties with him. Freddie, we thank you for coming on. We'll try and get it cleaned up. Maybe we'll have you on again in a couple of weeks when the Eagles turn this thing around.
I appreciate you guys and hope I catch the game up, man, and then come on after.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's Freddie Solomon, former Eagles receiver. All right, let's get to some comments. Here. David Rosca, the LA Rams will be 2-0 this Sunday at Philadelphia. LA Chargers will be 2-0 at the new stadium. Daz Deals, no Big Ben will throw for 400 yards. That is in reference to our poll question. Will the New York Giants upset the Pittsburgh Steelers? It is 10-9 Giants.
Third and 27. So I don't
Juju Smith-Schuster was able to catch a touchdown pass, and they missed the extra point. So, Daz Deals, I think Jason Garrett is going to turn that offense around. I think Jason Garrett is in a very good position to succeed as the offensive leader of the Giants.
Well, it should be interesting.
Jake Friel, check him out on the road to victory every Friday night. Eagles show. What's up, boys? He disagrees with the poll. Washington will be the only team in the NFC East 2-0 heading into week 2. 2020 is crazy. Crazy on both counts, but I don't know. I think, look, I've said it kind of all offseason. I think that the whole NFL fan base, including the Giants fan base, is sleeping on this Giants team. This team is not a doormat. This team will not finish. I don't think this team's going to finish last in the division by any means.
Well, based on what I saw out of the Redskins defense yesterday, I don't know about that. Although the Giants have played well in the first half. I got to give them some credit. That was a nice run Barkley had before. Unfortunately, they called the offensive pass interference on the Giants on that drive, and they took what looked to be a promising drive and ended up having to punt. But so far, so good tonight. But again, we'll see what happens in the second half. But I kind of like what I'm seeing so far. I can't complain. Again, I was maybe I'm the eternal negative person when it comes to the Giants, but you know, they don't look as bad as I thought they were going to be. Doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to be yet. Hopefully, it won't turn out that way. But the Steelers have one hell of a defense, though. I got to tell you.
Bob Brinkman checks in. Our running backs did a horrible job picking up the rush. He's absolutely right on that. There was a 4th and 4 call with about 7 minutes to go where the middle linebacker just blitzed right up the middle, and Boston Scott did nothing to pick up the blitz. It might have been Corey Clement. Boston Scott might have been injured at that point.
Oh, I remember that play. Yeah,
he just did nothing.
Yeah, he came in untouched. I mean, I got to tell you, Rob, it's amazing that Carson didn't get injured yesterday the way he got hit, because he took some tremendous hits.
Yeah, welcome to the NFL, kid.
Oh, I know, but I'm just. I mean, I think their middle linebacker. It was Bostic, I believe, right? He came.
It was Bostic, middle linebacker.
Yeah, he came flying in. There was nobody even touched him, and he got a clean shot on Carson. I mean, they're lucky he didn't go for broke and try to kill the guy. I mean, you can't let a guy come in like that. And it just seems like the Eagles yesterday were doing a terrible job protecting him. I know they're banged up, but there's got to be some kind of somebody has to throw a block. I mean, if one of the tight ends has to stay in and throw some blocks, put 3 tight ends out there and have 1 block. I mean, you can't have your quarterback under duress the way he was and expect to win a game. It's just not going to happen, especially on the road against a really good defensive team. And make no mistake, the Redskins have some talent on their defense.
Look, I think there's 3 main reasons that the Washington football team won the football game yesterday.
Excuse me. I mean the Washington football team. My bad, folks.
Yeah. Well, I had to catch myself because,
Yeah.
It's muscle memory.
Yes, exactly.
Same with Vegas. Even though I'm good at that one because, I like gambling, and that's Las Vegas is the gambling capital of the world. So that one's been relatively easy, but I still call San Diego Chargers. I still drop that.
Yeah. And the Raiders, I always call the Raiders though. So that isn't too hard.
But I mean, there's 3 main reasons the Washington football team is undefeated. They won in the trenches. Doug didn't make adjustments. Rivera did, and Dwayne Haskins outplayed Carson Wentz. As goofy as that sounds, as much as that should never happen in the entire world, Dwayne Haskins outplayed Carson Wentz yesterday.
He also didn't turn the ball over.
Correct. That goes to my point. Dwayne Haskins outplayed Carson Wentz yesterday. Kind of by a lot. It wasn't even close, really. That's how bad I think Carson was yesterday.
Well, he had 2 interceptions and a fumble. And really, it should have been 3 interceptions and a fumble, because if I remember correctly, there was an interception that was called back because of an offside on the Redskins in the first half.
Right. That's the one that went way up in the air.
Right. The one that got called back.
You're absolutely right. And these fumble issues are not – I don't care how hard you get hit. You're not fumbling my football. You're my quarterback of my football team, of my Philadelphia Eagles. You think you're going to get hit? You tuck that football away and you be smart. I don't care if me, you, Arnone, Jake Friel, and Ralphie are the starting 5 up front. You're going to get hit. You tuck that football and you do not fumble my football. I've been saying it for years with this guy. He's got to not – look, picks are going to happen. Interceptions are going to happen. Wish they didn't, but they're going to happen. No one goes through a whole season and doesn't throw a pick. But this guy fumbles way too much. He
had 2 fumbles yesterday, right? One he fumbled and they recovered, and the other one they didn't. If I'm not mistaken, he fumbled twice, right?
I don't know. 2, 3, 4. Who knows? I feel like every time he gets hit, he fumbles the ball because he holds it like a loaf of bread out there. He's got to tuck it and protect the football.
Yeah, he's got to do a better job of ball security, no doubt. But getting back to the rest of the team though, and the fact that they got away from throwing the ball to their tight ends, that's what I really didn't understand. If you're having trouble protecting the quarterback, How about taking 3-step drops instead of 5 to 7 foot drops? I mean that the 3-step drop and the quick pass to the tight end was working great in the first half, and for whatever reason, all of a sudden they became infatuated with trying to throw the ball deep down the field. They hit the one play with Rager, and then every play they're going for 30 and 40-yard passes, and you can't do that. Those kind of plays, if you want to do it once every 2 series, that's fine, but you can't do it 2 or 3 times in the same series. They're low percentage passes when you're throwing the ball that far. They just are. I mean, you've got to pick and choose when you do it, because a lot of times it's either going to be incomplete or it could be intercepted. I mean, that's why teams don't throw the ball all the way down the field like they used to. Like back in the 60s and 70s.
True, Evo. Problem was when you got 2 rookies on the right side of your line, you have to call quick plays. Play calling was a big problem. Yeah, play calling was a big problem. It was a big problem. There was a lot of problems yesterday, and there's plenty of blame to go around. But I can't ignore how bad Carson Wentz played yesterday because the line was hurt. I get it. The receivers aren't great here. I get it. Really, the only offensive player I was impressed with was Dallas Goedert, who ended up having 8 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown.
He had an outstanding game. And that's what I see. Again, Rob, that's what I don't understand. Ertz, I think, only had 3 catches, right?
3 catches, 18 yards, and a touchdown. So he was targeted 7 times.
Should have been targeted more than that.
I don't disagree.
Freddie made the point, Freddie Solomon did make the point that, it's the first game and maybe they need to get some wind under their sails and get some, repeat the plays, that sort of thing. But they really did not look good. You're right about that.
And look, and by no means am I a Carson hater. Am I jumping off? The only person I'm out on, and I've been out on him since pick 53 in the 2nd round officially, is Howie Roseman. He's the only guy who can get lost. Everyone else, I have faith that this team is going to get it right. They're going to have a good week of practice. Lane Johnson hopefully will be back. Miles Sanders will be back. And Deshaun Jackson can hopefully play a bigger role next week against the Rams. And I have every confidence that this team will prove its resilience once again and get a big win on Sunday.
I'll tell you what, your offensive line had better get it together, because you got Aaron Donald coming into town next week, and he's going to eat you alive if you guys don't prepare for him correctly.
I have every faith in the world that the Eagles will get it together, prove their resilience once again, and beat the Los Angeles Rams. In fact, Brad, I am going to make next week's Eagles game a Brinkman guaranteed lock. You remember we debuted the Brinkman guarantee lock?
You're 2-0 so far, so okay.
First year, Thursday Night Football, coming off a bad loss to the Detroit Lions. They go into Lambeau on a Thursday Night Football game. I guaranteed a win there. The Eagles came away with a big road win.
You also guaranteed the Flyers would win game. Which game was it?
It was game 2.
You guaranteed game 2, and I believe you guaranteed game 5 as well. No, game 6.
I did not guarantee any of those games. The Brinkman guarantee.
You guaranteed game 2.
No, the Brinkman guarantee.
You won that game.
You can't just throw it out there every day, every week, every month. Like
you're talking about football guarantees, because you made a hockey guarantee, which won as well.
No, I made one hockey guarantee, and it came. Brinkman guarantee is 2-0 all time. Sunday's the 3rd.
Okay.
Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, the offensive line, the receivers, the running backs, the whole gang is going to rally and beat the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday in Lincoln Financial Field in the home opener. 1-1. 1-1.
Well, I will say this: the Eagles play significantly better in Lincoln Financial Field, whether there are fans there or not. They do play better at home than they do on the road, because even last year they were not good on the road. They were not a good road team.
You heard it here.
Okay.
I guarantee 2-0 all time on the Brinkman guarantees. I guarantee an Eagles victory on Sunday over the Los Angeles Rams. Lock it in. Put your bets in now. Doesn't matter. Bet it now.
I believe the Cowboys are playing the Falcons next week, right? In Dallas.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So that will they're probably both going to end up being 1-1.
I don't know about that.
Well, I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I'd like to see them 0-16, to be honest with you, but I do have a feeling that they're going to find they're going to find a way to win that game.
Drew Evo 2-0. Doug's 2-0 against the Rams. That is a fact. Drew Evo. The Cowboys.
Okay, that sounds good. I take that. Did I see Michael Thomas is injured from the Saints?
I did not see that, but Palatero Pinja, Carson needs to ride the bench. Like, come on. Palatero. You put Nate Sudfeld in behind that line. Like, I criticized Carson. I crushed Carson a little bit. And maybe I went a little overboard on Carson because he makes hundreds of millions of dollars, and he's the franchise quarterback, and we expect him to be an MVP candidate. But you're putting Nate Sudfeld in behind that line yesterday, and you think you're going to get a different result? You okay, bro?
No. No, you don't want to. You don't want to do. I wouldn't even want to think about what would happen if a guy like Sudfeld, who doesn't have that much experience, came in. That would have been a disaster. I mean, oh my God, could you imagine? That would have been awful. That would have been.
Russell wants to say that's probably the smartest thing Palatero Pinch has ever said. The Eagles should sign Devonta Freeman. I 1,000% think the Eagles should sign Devonta Freeman. I hope they took the day to watch the film and how their running backs did a piss poor job picking up the blitz, and I hope they get on the phone with Devonta Freeman's agent, and I hope they work out something so he can join the team so you can manage Miles Sanders' load throughout the season.
The only problem is that Devonta Freeman has even been practicing. He may not even be in football.
I don't know.
It might take him a couple of weeks to get.
If he wants to have a job in the NFL this year or any year going forward, he's at least working out. I would assume he's working out. Football shape is football shape. But Brad, I want him to come in to block. I know that sounds crazy because we're talking about running backs, but Boston Scott and Corey Clement, they fell extremely short in pass protection yesterday, making the protection problems for Carson Wentz snowball. So Devonta Freeman's a veteran. He's been in pass-happy offenses before down in Atlanta. I think it's a match made in heaven between Devonta Freeman and the Philadelphia Eagles right now. I think it would be a good move for the Eagles to try to pick him up. Prism 280 is thought that they should sign him a while ago. Prism, we'll get to hockey a little later, but Alexis Lafreniere, I am jubilated about the fact that the Rangers can get him. And I do have big expectations for the Rangers, but we'll get to that a little later because we're on football right now. Rob Brinkman, so true. Their play calling did a complete 180. Why? What the fuck is Doug doing? Thinking with some of that shit he was doing. I don't know what Doug was thinking. I think Doug took a nap at halftime and never woke up.
I think Doug was in shock. I think that was part of the problem. I mean, I think that the way the Redskins played, I don't think anybody saw that coming. I mean, that just came out of left field.
Bill Middlebrook throwing to a tight end over the middle with short passes is all good and well. When you hit deep passes and sideline throws, that's the difference between good and elite. The game was on Carson, and no, I'm not a full troll. It's just a fact. I mean, there's a lot there from Bill. The game was on Carson. I do put a lion's share of that game on Carson. And I know there's a lot of blame to go around, but I need my guy. I need my quarterback to overcome some adversity and hold on to a 17-point lead.
How about doing some rollouts to get away from the rush. If you realize,
well, yeah, I mean, he's the best quarterback, highest quarterback rating in the league on designed rollouts last year, and I don't think I saw one of them yesterday. That's a huge.
I mean, we made him a drop back passer, and he was basically a sitting duck. And I mean, the Redskins have a good defensive line. Let's not kid ourselves, guys.
My only point.
They have a seriously good defensive line. Seriously good.
They do, and Chase Young's an animal.
And if Landon Collins is able to play near the line of scrimmage, and he doesn't have to be victimized by pass coverage, he is outstanding against the run.
Look, my only point on Carson Wentz and why I'm being critical of him tonight, which he deserves criticism, by the way, it's not going to be all peaches and cream all the time.
No.
You can't say you can't this season his receivers weren't good enough. This year his line's not good enough. You got to get up and go. You got to hold on to a 17-point lead. We're paying you hundreds of $1 million to pull this wagon, and get that done with a 17-point lead. And Carson Wentz didn't do it yesterday. Doug didn't do it either. The line played terrible. Everybody's injured. But that's why you have a franchise quarterback. We see it week in, week out, throughout the league. A franchise quarterback can mask a lot of deficiencies. And Carson Wentz did not play like a franchise quarterback yesterday.
No, he did not. Listen, he did not have a good game yesterday. We know that.
To the Nick Foles people, Nick Foles couldn't even beat out Mitchell Trubisky in training camp. Now, I give Mitchell Trubisky credit because he looked fantastic yesterday and it come from behind win. But to say that a quarterback who couldn't beat out Gardner Minshew or Mitchell Trubisky should still be on this football team is just asinine. And I have no time for it. Sorry. If you don't think Carson Wentz gives you the best chance to win out of those three, Sudfeld, Foles, Hurts, Wentz, Minshew, Trubisky, we'll throw them all in the hat.
Let me ask you this. What do you think would have happened to Foles yesterday with that kind of a pass rush?
He would have got killed.
Exactly. That's the whole point. So, I mean, it doesn't matter who was quarterback yesterday. I mean, the way the Eagles' offensive line played yesterday, unless you have an elite quarterback as far as the legs are concerned, nobody's going to have a chance against a pass rush like that. I mean, the Eagles, hopefully they'll get some of their guys back, and their offensive line will start doing the job. And Doug needs to come up with a different solution because that was as ugly an effort as you will ever see.
We got Manny Martinez and Bill Middlebrook. They're going at the trap. I love it. Get it all out. We're in the circle of trust here. Trust tree. Here. Get it all out. I don't even know if those guys are Eagles fans. But, I mean, Manny, in Bill's defense, and me and Bill, we go at it sometimes on social media. I don't think anything he said in this chat tonight has been delusional. I think he's been pretty on point. Bill Middlebrook also chimes in, JJ sucks, referring to JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Did he catch a pass yesterday? Because I don't recall his name being mentioned. Did he even play yesterday? Because, I don't remember hearing his
attempted. I mean, he went out there. He had pads on. He had a uniform on. He was active. But, no, he did not catch a pass yesterday. He struggles to get off the line. He's a big-bodied receiver who can't get off the line. What am I going to do with you? If you can't get a big frame to get off the line, what are you doing in the NFL?
He's become a big problem, no question.
He's a second-round pick, Brad. That's 2 second-round picks that are non-productive in Jalen Hurts and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. They did absolutely nothing to help you win. One guy didn't even dress.
What was the reasoning for not dressing? I'm just curious.
You'll have to ask Doug Peterson and the Eagles coaching staff that.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they at least dress Hurts? I mean, I thought they were going to give him like 1 or 2 series a game. A couple of packages a game. I mean, what happened to that? I mean, no, you can't have your second round pick not playing. If he was injured, it's one thing, but he's not injured.
And Bill Greg Ward sucks. Greg Ward does suck. He is not good enough to be a starting slot receiver in this league. It's just a fact. Alshon sucks. Alshon's on IR. So, I mean, we need Alshon. I can't believe I'm saying this because
from what I've heard, though, he's going to be back at the end of September. That's what it sounds like, anyway.
Well, they need him because Carson needs a receiver on the outside that can get off the line and catch a slant, catch a crossing route, so they can run some three-step drops. Because Deshaun can't run routes. Deshaun's a burner. Jalen Reagor is a burner. John Hightower is a burner. Quez Watkins is a burner. Greg Ward can't really do much of anything. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside can't really do much of anything. So this team needs Alshon Jeffrey.
Yes, they do. And they also need to have Deshaun Jackson playing a lot more plays. It seemed like he was on the sideline an awful lot yesterday. I mean, are they saving him for like just third down situations? I heard the load management thing, but I mean, it just seemed like he was only in there when it was third down. I mean,
Deshaun Jackson tweeted from his official Twitter account today, so his personal Twitter account, that he was not injured during the football game yesterday.
So then why was he not playing?
That's an excellent question. Doug Peterson seemed to take the load management approach in his media press time with both Deshaun Jackson and Miles Sanders.
Yeah, you can't do that in game. You can't do that in the opening game. You've got to win that game. That's a game that at the beginning of the season, that before the season started, you were counting on winning that game. Now you're going to have to figure out who you're going to beat that you didn't count on beating at the beginning of the season. Because a lot of us were picking them to go 10-6 this year. So now all of a sudden, is it going to be 9-7, or are they going to find a team that you wouldn't think they would beat and beat them?
It's usually how it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
this team always has a clunker. This team always comes out 1 game, 2 games a year. They come out flat. They come out not ready to go, and they look pathetic and horrible, and everybody freaks out. But then they follow it up with a resilient performance, which is why next week's Eagles game is getting the Brinkman guarantee against the Rams. The Philadelphia Eagles, I guarantee it. We're going to be doing a show next Monday, Brad. The Eagles are going to be 1-1, and everyone's going to be singing Carson's praises and the offense's praises and the defense's praise, which I think the defense actually played pretty well yesterday. They gave up 27 points, but Carson hung them out.
Most of those drives were short fields too.
Correct.
Yeah, and I don't think any of those drives are more than 40, 45 yards. Dwayne Haskins, it seemed like he was just doing the management the management control kind of passing and management control offense. You know, he wasn't going out of his way to make big plays. He was trying to keep it simple. And they found McLaren a few times, and he made some plays for them.
Brad, listen to these, because a lot of people in the chat are crushing Doug for not running the ball up 17-0, and he did abandon the run, and that's a poor job by Doug. Listen to these rushing stats. So the Eagles, as a team, carried the ball 17 times for 57 yards. That's an average of just under 3.5 yards per carry. Not great. Not going to get enough. But the 17 times is way too little. And 3.5 yards a carry, that's not awful enough to totally abandon the run.
No, but it's not good enough, though. They should. I mean, you got to get 4 yards a carry when you're running the ball.
Okay, but look at the Washington Redskins. 36 carries for 80 yards for 2.2 yards per carry. Know what the difference is? Know why it looks like the Washington Redskins ran the ball much better than the Eagles, which they didn't? Because they ran the ball 36 times. They didn't give up on it, even though they were down 17-0. And ultimately, they were able to win the game because they were balanced. They were able to roll Hoskins out.
Well, they were also able to tire out the Eagles' defense by running the ball all the time, a lot. I mean, running the ball makes you wear out the other team's defense. I don't think there's any secret about that. Passing defense does not get tired from rushing the passer. They get tired when they have to get whacked around in the running game. And if you don't run the ball enough, you're not going to tire out their defense. The Eagles' defense looked tired in the fourth quarter. No question about that.
Let me see if I'm not a big stats guy. As you know, I'm not a big stats guy. I watch the game. I use my eyes. But for shits and giggles, let me look at this box score. 31, 42 passes. That's way too many for Carson. Haskins, 17 of 31. Like I said, I mean, Carson Wentz had a QBR of 14.2 yesterday.
14.2.
That's out of 100. He had a rating of 72.5. Obviously, that's one out of 156.3.
72.5. That's not good enough.
Dwayne Haskins had a QBR. Dwayne Haskins had a QBR of 45.5. Again, that's out of 100, which isn't great. It's below average, but Carson Wentz's was 14.2. Dwayne Haskins had a passer rating of 82.5. That's out of 156.3.
Which is okay.
That stinks, Brad.
It's okay. For him, it's good.
What do you mean for him it's good? He was the best quarterback on the football field.
For Haskins, it's not that bad. Haskins has not really shown that he's an NFL quarterback yet. I mean, that was
yesterday.
That was one of his better games. Last year when they played in Washington, he had a good game as well. And he had a hell of a game against the Giants last year, too, at the end of the season.
True, Evo. Carson's big problem was he held the ball too long. Yes, he did hold the ball too long. That's probably half on Carson, half on Doug for calling bad plays. That's why you can't give up on the run. Because, you got to keep the defense honest, which Freddie Solomon pointed out in his interview.
Yeah, it's just amazing how one play can completely turn around a football game. And really, that interception, it's just amazing how that game completely turned around over one play.
I'll tell you what. And it kind of happened all of a sudden. I mean, the boys talked about it last night on Agree to Disagree. It was kind of like we were all sitting pretty, up 17-0, doing our little happy dance, and then you go to the fridge, get a cold beer, and it's 27-17, and the game's over, and everyone's looking around about, what the hell just happened? I don't understand what happened. Dwayne Haskins just outplayed Carson Wentz. We got worked in a game that pretty much everyone nationwide, not just here in Eagles Nation, had marked down as a win. And like you said earlier, Brad, you lose this game you're supposed to win. You got to find a game that you're an underdog in. Ravens, Steelers, Niners, Saints, Cardinals,
Packers,
Seahawks, Packers, all on the schedule this year. Not easy.
You're gonna have to win. Now you're gonna have to win one of those games, and it makes the Ram game pretty important too, because you don't want to go 0-2.
No, you can't go 0-2. Look, Doug is a good coach. Doug is a player's coach. This team's been counted out by even myself and this fan base many a times over Doug's tenure. Look at the Super Bowl year. I counted him out when Carson got hurt. Not my wildest dreams that I think Nick Foles could outduel Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. But they did.
Especially after the last game of the season when they scored 3 points against Dallas. If you remember that 6-3 game.
I remember. Yeah, I remember. They lose 48-7. They lose 48-7 down in New Orleans. I came on this very platform, freaked out, said they were a bunch of losers, and they were done. And if Alshon Jeffrey doesn't drop that ball against the Saints in the playoffs, it's very possible that the Eagles are in back-to-back Super Bowls. And then last year they go down to Miami. They get beat by Ryan Fitzpatrick, who seems to always have a career day against our Philadelphia Eagles. I came on this very platform. I said they sucked. I said they were a bunch of losers, and I was done with them. What do? They changed their whole outlook. They rolled Carson out of the pocket. They're playing the Little Sisters of the Poor down the stretch. They go 4-0, and then they make the playoffs. Fortunately, Carson got hurt in the playoff game, so they lost to Seattle. So it's not going to happen to me this year. I'm not counting this team out after one game. That's why we're throwing the Brinkman guarantee, stamp of approval on next week's game. We're doing the show next week. The Eagles are going to be 1-1. Start it all over. You're playing the Bengals, and you can get the season kind of rolling in the right direction so this team can get to where we hope we want them to be.
Well, we'll see next week. As I said before, your offensive line had better play a lot better because Aaron Donald and his gang could wreak a lot of havoc on your defense, on your offensive line. Are they going to be making any changes on the offensive line on that right side?
I mean, right tackle. I mean, if Lane Johnson plays, that helps a lot.
That's a key. I mean, if he plays, yeah, that kind of resolves a lot of the issues. But I mean, if he doesn't play, I don't see how it gets any better. I mean, now you're going to be dealing with Aaron Donald for God's sakes. I mean, and he's gonna line up on that side 90% of the time because he'll be licking his chops. So I mean,
but this is where I blame Howie for all of this roster's inefficiencies because he wants to go on 94 WIP with Angelo Cataldi and say we designed this roster to go deep into January. I mean, how am I supposed to buy that when you take a quarterback in the second round? You neglect depth at offensive line. You neglect your backup running back. You neglect linebacker. You neglect receiver. I know they took a receiver in the first round, and everyone wants to say, oh, you can't take a receiver in the first two rounds back-to-back. I say, why the hell not? There's not a team in the league that needed a receiver going into the draft more than the Eagles.
If there was one that you really felt would have made a difference where they were picking, maybe so. I mean, I don't know if there was really a receiver that they thought was worth taking in the second round. But
Brad, do you understand our ex-receiver can't get off the line?
Yes, I do.
Whiteside is a starting wide receiver on this football team, which he should based on his draft position. But he cannot get off the football. He can't get off the line. He can't get off press coverage.
Yeah, if he can't get down the field.
Body type.
It's hard to understand how he can be that bad. I mean, they can't. They really shouldn't be putting him in that position. That he shouldn't even be playing. If you can't get off the line of scrimmage, how do you play? I mean, what's his function? I mean, you don't get wide receivers to block. That's not their job. Their job is to catch passes and score touchdowns.
Wentz is better than Foles. 100% Rob. Like the Miami game, they always get that one or two that make you scratch your head. I mean, that's what yesterday was, a head scratcher. And I have full confidence in his coaching staff and Carson Wentz and my football team that they're going to get the win next week against the Rams. I guarantee it. Bobby Eagles know they won the game on turnover, simple as that. I mean, I said it earlier in the show. Dwayne Haskins outplayed Carson Wentz. That's one of the reasons the Washington Redskins won. Ron Rivera made adjustments. Doug Peterson did not. It's another reason the Redskins won. The Washington football team won. And the Washington football team also won the game because they bullied the Philadelphia Eagles in the trenches.
You mean established in 1932? How many times do we have to see that?
Yes.
Just so that you all know, they were established in 1932.
I do
get that out.
I do like the numbers on the side of the helmet. I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's good. Listen, the Redskins were in a tough spot. They couldn't come up with a good name, so they left it at that. So that's fine.
We're gonna transition a little bit into some big picture winners and losers of Week 1. Because I can't even talk about it anymore. It's so aggravating. It gives me a migraine just thinking about the game yesterday.
By the way, the Giants are down 16-10 at halftime.
Yes, they are 16-10 at halftime. Not out of it. The Giants are covering the spread right now.
Barely.
Is that Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit calling the game?
I didn't even notice, to be honest.
I don't even know. We've been doing the show. I haven't noticed.
I mean, I
don't even know who the new crew is.
I've been just kind of taking a quick peek. I saw that the Steelers kind of marched down the field with 2 minutes to go, which is something Dak Prescott couldn't do yesterday, by the way, for you Cowboy fans out there.
There's no Cowboys fans, and the Cowboys lost.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
They're hiding. They're out. They're out.
Yes, they're not. Yeah, they're not talking right now.
Right, but you know whose uniform? We just talked about the Washington football team's uniform. You know whose uniforms were fire yesterday? The Los Angeles Chargers, with the yellow pants and the numbers on the side of their helmet as well.
I have to tell you, I did not get a chance to see any of that.
They had like the 19, like the throwback, the like Dan Fouts jerseys.
Oh, okay. Was it
they had white tops, they had bright yellow pants on, and they had the white Chargers helmet with the Thunderbolts on it, with the numbers on the side in baby blue. They were fire.
One team I wanted to ask you about, the Tampa Bay Bucks got soundly whacked by the New Orleans Saints. Soundly whacked.
Yeah, Brady didn't look good. I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at all, because I think their defense showed well, and they're not going to be playing a loaded team like the Saints every week. So
they've got a ways to go to be playing in the same to be considered the same kind of team as the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are still a powerhouse.
Yeah, but the Saints have had the same core together for years, and look, I love Brady. I'm a big fan. I think he's the greatest quarterback of all time, and I'm pretty heavy on the Saints. But let's calm down. I know they lost. They lost to a good team. They lost on the road in a tough place to play. Brady can't turn the ball over. Brady wasn't sharp. I do think the Tampa Bay defense looked fantastic. 45 Devin White in the middle of that defense is an absolute animal. Really young player out of LSU. And Levante David plays right next to him at linebacker as well, and he's also an animal. They have a great corner, Sean Murphy Bunting, who was all over the field and super aggressive yesterday. I was really impressed by their defense. Really impressed. And I think if they can just gel together as an offense and not turn the ball over at an alarming rate, I think they're going to be okay. I would be shocked if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't playing postseason football, despite their loss yesterday.
Okay.
Brad, how about Joe Burrow's debut?
From what I saw, Brady did not look too good.
No, he didn't play a good game. It's the same thing as Carson Wentz. Am I supposed to bail on Brady and my predictions for Brady for the season because of one game? No, I can't do that.
No, but I mean, if you're expecting them to be better than the Saints, that might be a bit of a reach.
Yeah, and then winning the division, it's a Brinkman hot take. Whatever. I think they're going to be in the playoffs.
You were right on the money with the Arizona Cardinals, by the way. You called
Kyler Murray.
You called that game. You called an upset victory for the Arizona Cardinals last week over the 49ers. And folks, I heard it myself, so I'm telling you, he picked the Cardinals last week. That came to fruition. That's a big win for Arizona.
I don't know who is the player personnel general manager person in Arizona, but they deserve a lot of credit. They were able to take advantage of a weak, feeble organization, a weak, feeble front office in Houston to grab one of the best receivers in the league and give their young quarterback a legitimate number one wide receiver. DeAndre Hopkins was absolutely everywhere yesterday. He had 14 catches. He had 151 yards against one of the best defenses in the NFL on the road. and Kyler Murray proves that he's a special player.
Good run, boy. I'll tell you that. Man, oh man, was he on the loose yesterday?
The guy was also a top 10 pick in the MLB draft. Kyler Murray.
No, that wasn't he the guy that was drafted by Oakland?
Oakland A's, 9th overall. He decided to play football.
That's what I thought.
And then, he decided to give football a shot, and he won the Heisman Trophy. Oh, let me give this sport a shot. And he wins the Heisman Trophy. He's the first pick in the draft. Him and Cliff Kingsbury seem to be a match made in heaven as a quarterback-coach combo. I was pretty skeptical about the Cliff Kingsbury signing when they did that, but he's proven he knows what he's doing, and he's got the personnel to do so with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. The winner of the week is the Arizona Cardinals.
Absolutely.
Winner of the week. I can't speak enough about a player personnel department that actually has a clue, sees an opportunity for their young franchise quarterback, goes out, gives up what they need to give up to get DeAndre Hopkins in the building, and then opens up the checkbook to keep DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona with their young quarterback for the next 5 years.
And you know who I'm happiest for in that team? Fitz, because you know what? He deserves it.
Who? Sorry.
Fitz.
Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, absolutely.
Very happy for him because you know what? He deserves it. All the years he's been down there and all the miserable teams he's played for, and what a star player he is and what a gentleman and a class act he's always been both on and off the field. Good for him. He's going to finally get a chance to be on a good team this year, and I couldn't be happier for a guy who I have a lot of respect for as a football player and as a first-class gentleman on and off the field. The losers of the week, in my opinion, were the Cleveland Browns. What a disgraceful performance. I mean, you can't get beat like that. You give up 38 points and you lose 38-6. I mean, I know the Ravens are a good team, but come on, you got to at least be competitive. I mean, and Baker Mayfield, for a guy with a big mouth like him, he stinks. He's not even bad. He just flat out stinks. How do you get Odell Beckham the ball 3 times in a game?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Browns, I looked, I was on my Facebook feed yesterday after the Eagles game, and I saw the Browns. They managed to get themselves in a 3rd and 41 scenario.
3rd and 41.
3rd and 41, yes.
There's your manageable 3rd down.
And Brad, I got to tell you, I watched highlights of this game, and I was checking. We had the dual screens going with me and my buddies with the Red Zone channel and the Eagles game. The Ravens didn't really work that hard to win 38-6. The Browns just kind of said, here you go. Here's 1-0. Here's a division win.
Well,
we're going to turn the ball over. We're going to commit penalties. We're going to make mistakes, mental and physical, and we're just going to give you the game. Lamar wasn't spectacular. Defense wasn't Patrick Queen was pretty good. Their first-round pick.
They were more than good enough though to win that game easily. I mean, I don't think they even broke a sweat.
Let me just crush Howie again real quick. Look at the Baltimore Ravens. They had the standout star as a rookie on offense in J.K. Dobbins, getting in the end zone, proving he belongs in the NFL, running back out of Ohio State. And they had the standout defensive rookie, their first-round pick, Patrick Queen, who was just an animal all day. So that's their first and second-round picks starting week 1, playing huge roles in a blowout victory. And our guys are healthy scratches and can't get off the line and aren't even on the team, not even on our team, not on any team in the league. That's the difference. That's why the Baltimore Ravens are Super Bowl contenders this year, and the Eagles are going to be lucky to host a playoff game by winning the division. Because I still maintain that the NFC East is a one playoff bid division, even with the extra team.
Well, I'll tell you what.
That's the difference right there.
The way the East has played so far, and the Giants are also losing right now. I don't see how that division is gonna have 2 teams in the playoffs. I mean, none of these teams are all that impressive right now. That's for sure. I mean, honestly, the most impressive team so far in the East is the Redskins.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, whoever.
It's only week one, obviously, so I mean we got a long way to go. But by the way, that was pass interference on the Steelers.
Well, guess what? The Redskins are going to have a big test because they're going out to Arizona next week.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that
will probably be a loss.
I don't know. We're going to do our early leans like we do every week.
Yeah, I would say that's a loss because that's I mean, that's asking a lot.
Yes. Give me 1 second. Let me. But yes. And then, Brad, we go back to the losers of the week. I mean, it's a new year, 2020, but it's the same losers. The Jets get stomped. The Lions lose at the last second in heartbreaking.
Well, wait a minute. As far as the Jets are concerned, though, did you really, in your heart, expect them to beat the Bills in Buffalo, though?
No, but Brett, it's the way it happens.
Well, it was 21-0, and I get that. But the Jets, the Jets looked like they were ready to get buried, and then they forced that fumble right before halftime when the Bills looked like they were going to go in and make it 28-0, and they made a game of it in the second half. They showed a little character. Buffalo's just better than them, though. That's the whole thing. Buffalo is a very good team.
Yes. And, I'm not ready to give up on my Jets winning the AFC East prediction in week one, but the Jets were outclassed yesterday. At no point in that game did I think the Buffalo Bills were in danger of losing that football game.
No, I agree with you. And that Bills team is really a good team. And, Allen had a tremendous game yesterday, too.
If he takes a jump, which I haven't been sure about Josh Allen, I'll admit, if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. I've been skeptical of Josh Allen.
He's not the most accurate quarterback in the league. Let's just kind of be nice about it and not kill him. But he's not all that accurate. But he is very exciting because he's got a great arm, and he can run. And he's scary when he starts running the ball. If he gets his short passing game together, he could be a very, very dangerous quarterback. And he certainly looked good yesterday. I mean, no question about that.
Well, that's why I'm critical. I'm not sure he can do that. He can prove me wrong. I think he's good enough to start for a team, obviously. Yeah, it's a nice throw by Daniel Jones is playing well.
Yeah, he is. Well. He is. I mean, look, they're in the game, and that's if they could stay in the game in the fourth quarter, maybe they could steal it. I mean, you never know. I'll tell you one guy who's proving that he wasn't a fluke, if you're talking about the Giants right now, is Slayton, because he's been all over the field tonight. He's making a lot of catches. So, last year is not a fluke, that's for sure. And you see that? The Giants keep running the ball. That's really what they need to do is continue to run the ball. And and they do have that. They do have that with Saquon Barkley for sure.
And then, how about the debut of Joe Burrow? I hate to call it a losing effort. It was a losing effort, but it certainly wasn't Joe Burrow's fault. Obviously, Joe Burrow takes the Bengals all the way down the field, and the kicker misses a 31-yard field goal, potentially send the game into overtime, making the Chargers a 1-0 team. And I forget if I officially picked the Chargers to make the playoffs, but the Chargers stink.
Well, they won 16-13. Tyrod Taylor did not have a real good game.
No, and Joe Burrow, well...
Listen, they have a good defense. I mean, Joe Burrow having to go up against that defense in his first game, that's not easy.
No, and the Bengals, they need to get Joe Mixon on track to balance out their offense for their rookie quarterback. Because I think Joe Burrow is a stud, and A.J. Green looked excellent yesterday. And if A.J. Green is 100% healthy, he's a top 5 receiving talent in the NFL, and that's going to be a huge weapon for Joe Burrow. But I was disappointed that the Bengals seemed to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory because Joe Burrow deserved to win that game yesterday. Drove him down the whole field, played excellent, and unfortunately an idiot kicker couldn't get the job done, couldn't force the game into overtime.
They need to learn how to win games again. I mean, it's that's the one thing about going 3-13. I mean, these teams that are that bad, takes a bit for them to learn how to start winning games because they're so used to losing games. They're finding ways to lose games like that. And that's kind of what happens with these teams, especially the bad teams,
Speaking of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, the Lions.
Oh, boy, that was
same old Lions.
That was a terrible loss for the Lions.
Well, they blow a 20-6 lead. I think it was a 20-6 lead. Mitchell Trubisky leads the comeback, which is embarrassing. It's in Detroit, which is embarrassing. And then they go down by 3. They're driving down. Rookie Deandre Swift is wide open.
Easy pass. That was unbelievable.
And DeAndre Swift is a pass-catching back. Like, he's a versatile weapon for that offense. That was a good draft pick in the second round by them. It hits him right in the breadbasket, and it hits the ground. And Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions and DeAndre Swift and Matt Patricia are 0-1. It's amazing how these teams, doesn't matter who they have, doesn't matter what year it is, find ways to lose football games.
Exactly. That's the whole – that's what makes it so hard for a lot of these teams to turn things around. They have to learn how to win games.
And I feel so bad for Matthew Stafford because, in my opinion, Matthew Stafford, I think he's a pretty damn good quarterback. I think he's a franchise quarterback in this.
Yeah,
league.
if you put him on, I'll tell you what, if you put him on, say, Los Angeles.
There you go. We did it again.
Yes, if you put him on the Chargers, that would be a very, very dangerous football team.
That's a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. Stafford is good. He is real good. But it just seems like the Lions never have a good running back. And other than Megatron, the receivers are always okay, but, nothing great.
But the fact that Matthew Stafford's only made the playoffs a couple of times in his career, and my opinion is a pretty good player, it's just laughable on the Detroit Lions part. It's laughable that they can't put together winning seasons with Matthew Stafford as their quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, okay, last year he got hurt, so you kind of throw that out. But, I mean, it's always the same thing with the Lions. Every year they find ways to snatch defeat for victory. And they did it yet again.
Wayne Hilton says the NFL is in trouble. How is the NFL in trouble?
That's not true. It
doesn't make any sense. I saw on Twitter today.
They broke records yesterday. Their ratings were up 35% from last year.
Yeah, the Saints Bucks game, 425 Fox game of the week. It was like the highest rated regular season game ever, or something crazy like that. So the NFL,
the ratings were 35% higher this year opening week than they were last year opening week. So, I mean, listen, as far as the politics and stuff, you know what? I just don't watch the pregame shows. That way I don't see them and I don't care. I can just enjoy watching the game. And if I let the people who care about that stuff, they want to watch it and enjoy it, fine, that's on you. I just want to watch football. I don't care. I don't care to watch that stuff.
Yeah, and there's channels on your TV, DirecTV, Comcast, Fios, whatever you have. If you want to watch politics and watch the news, there's things you can do that. I turn on Fox on Sunday afternoon or Red Zone or CBS or whatever. I do it to watch football.
But if they do the politics stuff before the game, you can always turn the channel or mute it. You don't have to get yourself all out of shape about it. Who cares? Just watch the game. Don't let it ruin your enjoyment of the sport. Because you know what? If you start doing that, then you're taking this stuff way too seriously. You have no control over it anyway. So get over it and just enjoy the game. Forget about all the stupid stuff that goes on.
The Giants are on the move. They are deep in the red zone on the Steelers. They are down by 6 points. Third quarter. There's 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. We'll let you know if they score.
They need to get the ball in the end zone. Okay, right now they're 16-10. It should be 16-14.
Let's play this drive out. Let's live react to this drive right here. They just had a nice run to Saquon Barkley.
Jones just
I give it right back to Saquon Barkley. They didn't give the ball right
that's an interception.
And they just threw an interception. That's a horrible play call.
And once again, why don't you give the ball to Barkley going down in that end of the field?
I don't understand. I don't understand that at all.
Once again, Joe Judge showing his rookie inexperience by doing something dumb once again. And Jones should not have thrown that ball. I mean,
well, Jones had the play was designed. The play was designed as a bootleg rollout short pass to Saquon Barkley, which the Steelers had it sniffed out and covered.
He threw the ball into the ground at his feet. I mean, it was just another. I mean, I don't understand why they're not just giving the ball. I know they wanted to throw the ball to Barkley. Just let Barkley run the damn ball. It's 2nd and 3 from the 6-yard line. What are you doing? I mean, again, the same thing. And you know what? I hate to get on my new coach right away, but you know what? I am going to get on my coach right away. This is the second time you've been down there, and you got 3 points because of your stupid play calling.
Especially when it was just 1st and 10, and Barkley nearly ran it in.
He gained 7 yards. It was 2nd and
7 yards, nearly scored.
And you're again with trying to throw the ball into the end. I mean, come on.
It's bad.
Yeah, I mean, this coach is as bad as Shermer. Sorry, that's Shermer stuff. And you know what? This guy, I have no use for this guy either. If he's going to start making calls like this, you got the best running back. You got one of the best running backs in football, and you're throwing the goddamn ball. You know, you don't have Odell Beckham to throw the ball to anymore. Okay, run the ball. Your best player is your running back. Stop with the passing on the 6-yard line when it's 2nd down, and you can get a 1st down from the 3-yard line. You know,
well, you and your giant.
Well, Jason Garrett is obviously the one calling the plays. So you know what? Now you know why Dallas could never win a big game because of these stupid calls. I'm just wondering, when Jason Garrett was coaching the Cowboys, did Ezekiel Elliott get the ball on 2nd and 3 on the 6-yard line, or did he make his quarterback or did Dak Prescott try to throw the ball? I'll bet you he was handing the ball off to Ezekiel Elliott. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay. And what the hell is it then? What? You have to excuse me, folks. Yeah. I'm a little agitated right now. What the hell is he doing?
You're handling it better than I would have if that happened to the Eagles and we were doing a live reaction.
Well, we're doing a live reaction. I'm trying to behave myself, but trust me.
I don't behave. Who gives a shit? I freak out all the time like a jackass. Doesn't matter.
Usually, you know, I mean, I was driving my daughter and my son-in-law crazy on Saturday. I'm watching the Yankee game, and I'm calling Tyro Estrada a piece of shit. And my daughter's like, I forgot how annoying you are when you watch games. Oh my God!
They don't get it. They don't get it. They just don't get it.
No, they don't get it. They don't get it.
Here's a good question from Adam Rush. Which rookie impressed you the most this weekend in the whole league?
Chase Young.
Chase Young is a very good one. Offense, that's the defensive answer.
He would be the defensive one. Most definitely.
CeeDee Lamb, he showed signs that he's going to be a pretty good player in Dallas on Sunday night. I think he had 6 catches for 60-some yards.
Look at this. How about the Giants' defense?
Uh-oh.
I think they just created a fumble. And
keep him alive, the governor says. Who's got
I think the Giants recovered. But this is a big call right here. I'll tell you now, that's something you never saw last year. Now, I guess the Steelers got the ball.
No, the Steelers got it.
But you know what? That's not something we saw last year from the Giants.
See, offensive rookie. CeeDee Lamb looked good. I'm really interested to see what Jerry Jeudy's going to do tonight, receiver out of Alabama. But offensive, I would have to say Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow did his job yesterday. Was he perfect? No, but, you know, he ran the ball. He had a great 2-minute drive against a pretty good defense, and unfortunately the kicker didn't do his job, and they weren't able to force the game into overtime. Bobby, is Bobby Eagles, yes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was spectacular. I forgot about Clyde Edwards-Helaire because that game was way back.
Thursday game, yeah. He's right.
That guy's unbelievable. Just a great match made in heaven there with him, his skill set, and the Andy Reid offense with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and all that speed. It's just an embarrassment of riches there for the Kansas City Chiefs.
No, they're just right now. Right now, they're head and shoulders above the rest of the league. But we'll see. It's a long season, and guys do get hurt, and you never know. You never know who could become the rising star and change the fortunes of certain teams. The Ravens are still a team that Kansas City is going to have to reckon with. I think somewhere along the line, they're going to meet in the playoffs, and Kansas City is going to have to find a way to beat them.
All right, Brad, let's do early leans. Let's do our way too early picks against the spread for week 2 of the NFL season. Obviously, these are unofficial predictions. They don't mean anything. We're just looking ahead to week 2 of the NFL, looking at the lines. Maybe you can bet something early on DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever you use. Maybe you still use the barbershop bookie. I don't know. We're trying to win you some money, get you guys good lines, and also preview week 2 of the NFL at the same time. Early Leans is brought to you by Philly Drinkers, phillydrinkers.com. Buy your shit. Get A2D shit. We need you. We need the fam. We don't get 200,000 viewers without you. We need you to step up. We need you to buy merchandise. We need you to be human billboards for us. Takeover talk. All right, Brad, we're going to start Thursday night. The Cincinnati Bengals are visiting the Cleveland Browns. Somehow Cleveland is a 6-point favorite in this game.
I'll take the points.
Right? That's a money line. That's a money line lock right there. I mean, the Browns stink. So, I mean,
I don't know if I could depend on the Bengals to win the game, but I'll take the 6 points most definitely.
All right, we talked about it earlier. Atlanta is going to go to Jerry World. I would imagine there are going to be fans in that game. Dallas is favored by 5 points. I love the Falcons here. That's another money line lock.
I like the 5 points in that game as well. I think if Dallas does win the game, it'll be a 3-point game.
Buffalo is going to travel down to Miami. Buffalo favored by 5.5 early.
I take the dog in that game too. I'm finding myself taking a lot of dogs. I like the 5.5 in Miami.
Dogs always bark. I'll take the favorite here. I'll lay the 5.5. Miami. Ryan Fitzpatrick was terrible in week 2, and I think
you'll see Tua.
You might. It's getting to be that time.
You might see Tua if he's healthy enough to play.
He is fully healthy. I read on the internet that he is fully healthy, so it's only a matter of time down there for Tua.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Carolina, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is laying 9.
In Tampa Bay?
In Tampa Bay. I think they get on track.
I'd spot the 9 points and take Tampa Bay. I think they got a double-digit win. Carolina's not good. I mean, I know they beat the Raiders yesterday, didn't they?
No, they lost to the Raiders.
Oh, they lost that game? Okay.
That's correct. Yes, they lost 34-30, I believe the final was.
They blew that game. Okay.
But, I mean, I like what they're doing on offense there in Carolina, but I think their defense is a couple years away. The Denver Broncos are going to travel to Pittsburgh. Obviously, these two teams are on Monday night, and that's a great job of scheduling by the NFL. Both teams are on the same amount of rest, so there's no advantage there. The Pittsburgh Steelers are favored by 6.5 points. And, Brad, I like the dog here again. I'll take the 6.5.
6.5's a lot. I mean, Denver. Well, is Johnson? Is he healthy?
Who's Johnson?
Not Johnson. I'm sorry. Miller, right? No, who's
no, Von Miller's out for the year.
Von Miller's out for the year. So I think John. Von Miller is out for the year. You know what? I might take Pittsburgh in that game.
I don't think the
Steelers. Pittsburgh to me looks like an awfully good football team tonight. Because the Giants to me are not playing terribly. Just a couple of ridiculously stupid calls by new offensive coordinator, the Clapper, who should be back in Dallas right now or should be on unemployment because well, I'm not going to get into it again. It just makes me feel annoyed. But the Giants offensive coordinator has cost the Giants this game with 2 stupid calls.
There's still a whole quarter left, cuz. Come on.
I have no faith in this team coming back. I've been watching this team for the last 4 years. They have not shown me any indication that they can come back from adversity. Usually when adversity hits them, they fold up like a cheap suit. So we'll see what happens.
Yes, I am in Bobby Eagles. I did cough on the air, and I do have to be in COVID protocol now.
Oh, I did too. About an hour.
Yeah, Brad sneezed. Brad sneezed through the computer and got me. So we have COVID, virtual COVID now.
Yes, exactly.
We have COVID 20. We have COVID 20
and 21.
Yeah, COVID-19. That ain't shit compared to what we just passed through the internet in COVID 20 and COVID 21.
Exactly.
I digress. Detroit goes to Green Bay. Green Bay's laying 6. I mean, I like the Packers here.
Yeah, the Packers should cover that game. Should cover.
The surprising Jacksonville Jaguars, the 1-0 Jacksonville Jaguars, are going to travel to Tennessee. Tennessee is laying 10 points. Obviously, the Titans are going to be playing later tonight. I'll lay the 10.
Against the Jaguars? Yeah.
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 I think first off, I think the Colts stink. I think Phillip Rivers is so washed, and I'm not sure that Phillip Rivers is an upgrade over the quarterback they played with last year in Jacoby Brissett.
I'll tell you what, to lose to Jacksonville is a disgrace.
I've been telling people about the Colts. Oh, everyone say the Colts have a good offensive line. They have everything but a franchise quarterback. Phillip Rivers ain't getting it done. It's not 2008 anymore.
Phillip Rivers is 39 years old now. 39, 40, something like that.
He's got to be close to 40 because he's the same year as Eli.
Right, Eli. Yeah, I think he's
38, I think.
38, 39, something like that.
When he retired, he was 38.
Eli? Yes, he's got to be 39 then.
We go to Philadelphia. Now, obviously, this is a Brinkman lock. This game is a pick'em in Vegas right now between the Rams and the Eagles, which screams Philadelphia Eagles to me. It's Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, you're asking the Rams to go from West Coast to East Coast, and that's never a good scenario. So, my brain is telling me that unless Lane Johnson plays, the Rams are going to win the game. So, I would bet the Rams unless I find out Johnson's playing. If Johnson's playing, then that would change my mind. But as currently constructed, I would have to take the Rams.
This is where the line speaks to me, though, Brad. Because how in the world, after Vegas watched the Eagles completely collapse yesterday, and the Rams, to their credit, they get a big win. They get a big win in primetime over the Dallas Cowboys. How in the world is that a pick'em? Vegas knows something. They're trying to trap you into betting the Ram. It's a Brinkman lock. The Eagles are 1-1.
Could very well be. But boy, I'll tell you what. The matchup screams Rams. I think the Rams might actually end up being favorites by the end of the week.
You might be right.
Yeah, I could see 2.5 for the Rams.
Minnesota traveling to Indianapolis. There will be fans at this game as well. Limited fans at this game as well in Indianapolis. The Colts are a 3-point favorite over the Minnesota Vikings. I will take
the Vikings all day long.
I love the Vikings in this game. Look, I know the Vikings are 0-1 and they lost, but Kirk Cousins looks spectacular. Adam Thielen looks spectacular. Dalvin Cook got paid and looked spectacular. Their offense looked really good. They put up over 30 points. Unfortunately, they ran into the buzzsaw. It is Aaron Rodgers.
And Yannick also didn't play, did he?
I would have to check on that. I'm not.
I don't think he. I mean, if he did play, it was very limited, and he didn't get on the scoreboard. He didn't get in the play in the box score at all. Obviously the guy hasn't practiced all that much, so he may need another week of practice. But you got to figure he'll probably be in there next week, and their defense will be a lot better. And I got to agree with you. I think that's an easy win for the Minnesota Vikings. There's no way
I'm so out on the Colts. I think the Colts stink. I really do. I think Phillip Rivers is just gonna drag that talented roster down like a stone. I just don't think he's good anymore. And I've always been a Phillip Rivers fan. He's got kids. He's got 10 kids. He's got a hot wife. He's always talking shit. He throws the ball kind of weird. I've always been a Phillip Rivers guy. He's a gunslinger, but he's just not a good football player anymore.
Well, he's old now. I mean, he's clearly past his prime. So, I mean, at this stage of the game, I would go with Minnesota. Minnesota is a very good football team.
Your Giants visit the Bears next week. The Bears are 5.5-point favorites.
I would take the Giants in the 5.5. I don't think the Bears are all that good either.
I agree. San Francisco traveling cross country to play the New York Jets. The Jets are 7-point home dogs.
7 points?
Home dogs, yes. I'm going to take the 7 points in the Jets.
That is no respect for the Jets.
No, it's not.
I would take the Jets in the 7.
And, Brad, that Super Bowl hangover, that's a real thing.
Oh, it is. I agree with you.
You've seen it. I think the Niners take a step back this year, as I predicted. They're 0-1.
Happened to the Rams last year, that's for sure.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. The Washington football team heads out to Arizona. They're going to take on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are laying 6.5 points. I like the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals are for real.
6.5.
Yes.
Seems like a lot. I think I might take the Redskins. That just seems like an awful lot of points.
And, boy, how about Houston getting the raw end of the schedule? They play Kansas City week 1, and they follow that up with a date with Baltimore at home. So they're starting KC, Baltimore. Now, the Houston Texans are 6.5-point home underdogs, which I think is a tad disrespectful to Deshaun Watson. So I am going to take Houston plus 6.5 here.
Houston did not play badly against Kansas City.
Nah, they kind of did, though. David Johnson looked good, and Deshaun Watson did okay.
But everybody looks bad against Kansas City.
It's not a bad play.
It's so hard to defend. I got to take Houston in the points. I don't usually like dogs that much, but it seems like this week I'm picking all dogs.
We got a lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of them. Here's another one. KC is traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. The Chargers are 8.5-point home dogs.
Kansas City owns them. I would take Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm gonna lay the points here.
Yeah, Kansas City
8.5.
Kansas City has been blowing them out for the last 2 years. No, I'm wrong. The Chargers, when they were in San Diego 2 years ago, did beat the Chiefs in Kansas City on that. Was it a Monday night game or a Thursday night game?
I don't know.
It was a Monday night or
it
was. I think it was a Monday night game. Yeah, they were San Diego then. They beat Kansas City on a Monday night in Kansas City. But but for the most part, Kansas City's been blowing them away. And Tyrod Taylor against that defense, no.
Well, how about Tyrod Taylor against Patrick Mahomes? I mean, is Tyrod Taylor really going to be able to keep up with Patrick Mahomes?
No. Tyrod Taylor is a game manager, and he's okay. But he's okay. He's not great. He's not bad. He's your classic. He's kind of like he's like a drop below Alex Smith. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
And I would say that's a good. That's an accurate judgment of him.
Let's get to the primetime games here. New England's going to travel to Seattle. Seattle is laying 4 points. I like the Seahawks here.
4 points? Yeah, they should.
New England plus 4 in Seattle.
Oh, Seattle will cover that.
And then next weekend's Monday night game, our live reaction show will be the New Orleans Saints traveling to Las Vegas, and the Saints will be 5.5-point favorites.
Oh boy, the Raiders and the Saints, huh?
Yeah,
that game will be over by halftime. Jesus.
Yeah, you're on the Saints.
What a shitty game. Yeah, I love the Saints in that game. They win that game easily.
Yeah, I mean, I hate betting against home dogs, especially in primetime games.
Yeah, but the weather's going to be nice and warm down there, and it's going to be. I
can't pick the Saints to loot them.
They're not losing to the Raiders.
At least a touchdown.
Yeah, they'll beat the Raiders by at least a touch. The Raiders won't be able to stop them. They may score a little bit on them, but they're not going to stop them.
All right, that's Early Leans once again. Early Leans brought to you by Philly Drinkers. Buy your A2D Radio merchandise. Click on the A2D Radio collection, phillydrinkers.com. We need as many human billboards as possible. Thank you to everyone who liked the show. Thank you to everyone who shared the show. Thank you to everyone who commented on the show. Thank you to everyone who retweeted the show. Tell your friends.
Thank you to Freddie Solomon.
Freddie Solomon, yes, coming in. One of our esteemed guests. And, anyone who missed the show, spread the word. You can download it in podcast form on Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio. A2D Radio is everywhere. It's total takeover talk. We get over 100,000 viewers every time we go live these days. So don't miss out. Like, subscribe, share. Shout out to our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, and Ambuck Services, the gutter and roof experts of South Jersey. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Also shout out to Frank Vesby, our producer. Until next Monday, thanks for tuning in.